Welcome, everybody, to the Future Check podcast. This is episode number 2. Alongside me today, I got Blake Schweitzer, the head and founder of Schweitz Productions. He's from Fairfax, Virginia. He's a senior here at UW, and we're very happy to have him. So, Blake, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No, this is amazing. I mean, as one of the most important members of the Badger Film Group, one of the most influential filmmakers on campus, it's only right to have you on this show. So.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate you pronouncing my last name correctly.
For the first time. I always call him Switzer.
Well, that's how it's spelled. So
that's how it's spelled.
Understandable.
So it's, whichever way you prefer me saying it, I'll say it. I don't think you really have a preference, but Schweitz, that works.
I'm not super picky with it.
It works. But let's catch up, though. How have you been doing? Obviously, Blake and I, we've known each other since the start. He's been with me since day one. He was part of the Licorice Project, so one of the few that have stuck with Badger Film Group all the way through. So tell me, what's going on in your life? How was spring break? What's happening?
Yeah, it feels like I met you so long ago, but in reality, it was only a little over a month ago. I think it was like February of 2022. So, a little over a year ago, not a month ago.
Yeah, a year.
But yeah, no, a lot has happened. I feel like in the past year, because I guess all throughout college, I was big into social media content creation, so YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I still am very big into that. But Jared has definitely allowed me to open up my eyes to a new kind of side of filmmaking, that being traditional filmmaking, where there's actors and screenplays, that kind of thing. So it's been good to try and dive into that, and I've definitely learned a lot. They're totally separate worlds in a lot of aspects, but also there are similarities, and it's been fun working with other students here on UW-Madison. We're making some cool traditional films.
Yeah, no, it's the best. I live for film. You know that. I love it. Everything about it, from just the making of it to the watching it, the culture, the people that it brings together. It's the most fun thing to do is just make a movie. So when it comes to something like what we're about to do, with our project Wasted, just that process is it energizes you, and telling a story that speaks so much to our lives. It's magic.
Absolutely.
But, before we get into that, though, I want people, just to understand, what Blake's been up to in the last, few weeks. We had spring break, so let's talk about your vacation. How was that? Please tell us what was going on there.
Sure, yeah. So we just came back from spring break about a week ago, and I had the super fortunate opportunity to go to Cancun, Mexico with 6 other of my friends. It's supposed to be 7, but one couldn't come. And yeah, it was super fun. We had an all-inclusive resort, so that was awesome. Got super sunburned. My forehead got completely peeled off. But while I was down there, I brought my camera and drone, and I got to film some cool stuff. I try to enjoy the vacation as much as possible, because when I'm here in Madison, I'm pretty laser focused on videography and film and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted a little bit of a week to just kind of debrief from that, but I still had to bring the camera down and the drone.
Of course.
The camera actually ended up getting slightly broken. I was filming a Steve Aoki concert, which first of all was super cool. He's probably a top 5 DJ in the world right now, at least name wise. Mm-hmm. And he had some pretty crazy lasers and bright lights. So some of those bright lights ended up burning the pixels on the sensor for my camera. So there was some red pixels all over the image of my camera, and I was kind of trying to just act like it wasn't there, but then it got so noticeable that I was all right, I need to get this fixed. Luckily, I have a full warranty on the camera, so it's going to be a free repair.
Thank God,
but I will not have the camera for about 2 weeks-ish, which is kind of tough because I'm sure we'll get into it, but we're starting shooting a film tomorrow, and I'm not going to have my camera, so that's going to be a little stressful, having to reach out to a lot of other people here on campus to see if they can come and help shoot it. But yeah, it feels like a little bit of my livelihood is gone without having my camera.
It's wild, dude. I think Steve Aoki owes you another camera. In all honesty, I think if he's watching this, he better send you one ASAP, because that is just not fair.
To be perfectly honest, I think a lot of the burnt pixels happened at prior fraternity parties here at UW-Madison from their lasers. Okay. I think the Steve Aoki concert just kind of amplified it all.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Did you know that he was coming out to where you were over break, or it's just you're oh my God, one day Aoki's coming? What the hell?
It was a complete surprise. Honestly, this was the first night we got there. We got in at 4 p.m. Took about an hour to check in because there were so many students there. But then around 5 p.m., got our bathing suits on, went out to the pool. And then at 6 p.m., there's this big concert venue in between the pool and the beach. Mm-hmm. And it just starts getting packed. and everybody's like saying Steve Aoki's gonna be performing. I'm like, oh, there's no way. Like I would have heard about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they had a list of like what DJs were gonna be in Cancun that week, and Steve Aoki was not on the list. So I was like, no, he's not. Like he's not performing. But then sure enough, like I looked down there like at like 6:30 p.m. It's like some dude with long hair on stage, no shirt on. I'm like, that's Steve Aoki.
so cool.
So then I run back to the room, and I'm like, I need to film this. I bring my drone out, bring my camera, and then I end up like hopping like a fence to like get into like the venue to like film it. And like you needed like some special wristband, and to get a wristband you had to wait in a line that was like hour long. But I just man, well, I acted like a videographer. They thought I was like a videographer for Steve Aoki, so they just like let me in perfectly fine. But
wow,
it was really cool. I mean, that was definitely like the biggest artist I've ever filmed.
That's so sick.
Second biggest would probably be Rufus Du Sol, who's like my favorite artist of all time. But yeah, it was super cool to be able to do that and to see him live there.
I think what prepared you best for that is your past with YouTube, because I remember there was that one event in Miami that you went to, right?
Yes.
Well, okay, do you want to explain them what happened where you kind of snuck in?
Yeah,
and did this whole,
I mean,
this whole adventure.
I still say to this day that was probably the coolest experience in my life.
Yeah, that is awesome.
There was like this big trend going on YouTube, or relatively big, where and kind of in like 2020, 2021, where some people would try and like sneak into big sporting venues. So like the Super Bowl, well, that was like really hard. Nobody's ever done that. But like smaller things like boxing events and that kind of thing. So Floyd Mayweather was fighting Logan Paul in June of 2020, and it was down in Miami, Florida. I'm from Virginia, so like not super close, but I was like talking to my mom about it. I was like, do you think there's any way like you'd want to go down to Miami with me, and like I could try and like get into this concert? Like I'll make a fake press pass, like dress up in a suit. She thought I was crazy, but she was like, yeah, why not? Like I'll go down with you for a night. So we go down to Miami, and I dress up in a suit. Like the whole night prior, I'm just like on Photoshop grinding, trying to make the perfect press pass. I saw somebody's press pass online from the day before. Like he was at like a pre-event for the fight, and I tried to replicate it as best as I could based off like the picture I had on social media. And so yeah, I show up to the fight, and I'm super nervous. Like I was like, could I get arrested for this? Like this is like pretty high stakes. I mean, Floyd Mayweather's about to fight. Like this is a massive event, and Logan Paul's big too. So like people want to see him. But then eventually I found like the press entrance, or like the VIP entrance. And I basically just waited outside that entrance for about an hour, just observing people like walking through that entrance, like seeing every action they would take, like pulling out the phone, like showing them a barcode, like showing some kind of like press pass. Like I was just observing people for about an hour, and I was like super like scared, like just waiting outside this this entrance. I was in a full suit, and it's like Miami, so I'm like dripping in sweat. But eventually I'm like, all right, like I'm already down here in Miami. I'm gonna try it. So then I like walk up to the entrance, and I kind of just like flash my pass, and the security guy was like, is that a press pass? Or sorry, is that a VIP pass? I said, yeah. He's like, let me see it. So like I show it to him. He looks at it for like 5 seconds. He's like, all right, you good? And I'm like, all right. So then I like take my phone out, wallet out, and like go through like the little metal detector. And then right as you get in the building, there's a guy like checking people's phones. But he was so preoccupied with the people in front of me, I kind of just like walked around acting like I like worked for the event, I guess. So he didn't see me. And then I just like, I did not turn back. I just kept walking forward. I make my way into like some like VIP like bar, and just like keep walking. Like I'm not stopping whatsoever. And then eventually I make my way, and I found myself out on the field, like where the fight is about to happen. And it was super crazy because like right as I walk out on the field is like my favorite YouTuber like standing right there. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's here. Like it was like probably the craziest like minute and a half of my life. But yeah, I still say to this day that was probably like the coolest night of my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like just the adrenaline rush that you must have had. Like the second you got through security, you're like,
yeah,
this is real.
And then and
then
like,
that's a dream come true.
Yeah, and then like to see your favorite YouTube like right as you step out on the field, like after that all just happened, like it's probably like you equivalent seeing like Steven Spielberg or like Tarantino or something, like right as you walk out on the field. Like it was pretty funny.
Like wow, just to be in the presence of like all those people at that time.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So
And so
cool.
yeah, the whole fight I like stayed down on like the ground level, like right next to the boxing ring, where like there was just like a bunch of like famous people, and like I tried to meet as many people as I could because I knew like that was like probably a pretty good networking opportunity.
For sure.
I met like one of like the head guys of SpaceX, like good buddies with Elon Musk, and like we still follow each other on Instagram. And
Wow.
and then like there's a bunch of like celebrities and influencers there. Some of which I talked to, some of them I didn't, like Dave Portnoy and like a lot of Logan Paul's friends, like Mike Malak and all those, Summer Rae, like some really big names. And it was just, yeah, it was really cool to be there.
Wow. Well, hey, at some point you'll be there and you won't have to sneak in. I can tell you that much. I know that.
Yeah, hopefully one day.
We
Well,
know.
I'm sure, like, hopefully within the next, like, 5 years is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I always kind of, like, think, like, oh, next year will be my year, but then it never really happens. Like, all right, well, next year, and, like, yeah. I
It's
don't know.
happening. It's happening.
We'll see.
I
Yeah.
believe it. I
Just keep
believe
working.
it.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about, you being a senior now at Wisconsin, doing a lot of film stuff and also, being, pretty involved, I guess, with your fraternity. I guess over the years it's gone down a bit as far as involvement, but you're still tight with your boys.
Yeah.
Tell me a memory or two in the last like few years that resonates with you that you're going to always remember even past your time here.
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say, well, coming into college, it's funny. Like, I didn't really have any intentions of joining a fraternity. I didn't really think that was my thing. But, like, my dad kind of convinced me to at least try it out because he was in a fraternity at Kentucky. And so, yeah, I went to a couple different houses and ended up, like, meeting some guys. And I'm in Phi Delta Theta here.
Right.
And, yeah, some, like, really awesome guys in the fraternity. I found a lot of my best friends in college, like through my pledge class freshman year. I rushed like fall freshman year, and now I'm a spring of senior. I've been in the fraternity for a second.
That's wild.
And we've had a lot of like really awesome memories. A couple that stand out. This happens pretty often. There's like a brotherhood event where we go to the Madison Capitals game.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's the junior hockey team here in Madison, and they have like a $1 beer night, and like a lot of guys from my fraternity will all go. We actually just did that last night, so that's why it's in my head right now. That's always like super fun. I love like the brotherhood events. I was the brotherhood chair like my sophomore year, so during that year, like we did a paintballing. That was a really fun time. We got like 25 guys like paintballing, and I'd never been before, so that was a really cool experience. I don't know, a lot of like some other things pop out of my head. Like earlier this year in August, one of my fraternity brothers' friends was bringing up his like wake boat, a super nice wake boat, and he like brought us all out onto Lake Mendota for like the weekend, and we were just like doing some awesome like water sports out on Lake Mendota. And that was just like a super cool day. Like it was like a 2-day kind of thing. But I don't know. It's just, I think having a lake right here on campus is so insane. And it's honestly one of the reasons why I chose Wisconsin over other schools. I just thought it was so unique and so awesome.
Yeah, no, the outdoors here, I mean, that's such a selling point, especially, for this school. And I mean, the way that you show off the school with, your camera work and everything. I remember actually that day that you went out on the water, you posted some stuff on Instagram too. Like, you make this school look even cooler with the way you post about it. So I think part of it comes with the way you edit and the way you do your stuff. Because I mean that's a talent in itself.
Well, that'd be awesome to hear that. Like, because one of the reasons I came to Wisconsin, I just mentioned the lake, but another like huge reason is I saw this like one guy on Instagram who was making Wisconsin look super cool, like Madison and Wisconsin and all that kind of thing. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder if like I could do the same thing. Like I was super inspired by that, and like the way he was able to like capture Madison and everything, that I wanted to try it myself. And like that's one of the reasons why I came here. And so it's really cool if like people do say something along those lines of like, oh yeah, you make this school look so cool, or like you're the reason why I chose Wisconsin. Like a couple of people have said that to me, and that's like a really cool feeling because that was once me like as a high schooler.
Wow. I mean, I think they should even go as far as like the tour guides have like a link to something to show this is Swites Productions. Like if you want to see Madison at its finest, check this out right now.
Yeah, hopefully I'm helping out UW admissions a little bit.
Hopefully
we see like a skyrocket in their applicants next year.
I mean, every year it gets harder and harder, and more people are applying. So
absolutely,
you gotta attribute it to something because the basketball team's not doing it, and the football team I know for damn sure is not the one doing that. So
hopefully Luke Fickle will help out a little bit there. Yeah,
praying. But now I guess to get into more like what's happening present day with us and all that. Just so you guys know, so Blake is co-directing with Ben Klein for this upcoming feature film that we're making for the Badger Film Group. It's called Wasted. And I explained the rundown of the movie last podcast. So, Blake, we're not going to backtrack on that. I want to get your insight on what you're most excited about for this production. some aspirations, what you're looking forward to, just like what about the story interests you? Like what's your mindset going into this?
Sure. I'd say what I'm looking forward to the most is probably just being on set with other students who enjoy filmmaking. A lot of what I do is video editing, and that's just me sitting in front of the computer in my room, and I love it, but it does get a little old sometimes if you're just constantly doing that all day, every day. So I'm super excited to be on set with other students. Like a lot of, or not a lot, but like some people have been telling me it's like, oh, it's like traditional filmmaking, like the route you really want to go. Like you should be focusing on stuff that like maybe you can hopefully like monetize and that kind of thing. And well, one, we can probably monetize this.
Yeah.
But two, the reason why I'm like excited to do this is because I don't have to just sit in front of my computer all day. Like I can actually meet, like, collaborate with other students here on campus. And I think it's just be really fun.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason like I want to do this film. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to edit it too, obviously.
Too.
Like that, I mean, that'll be like great. But
well, and now you got a team though too. Now there's like, last project was just you. Now you got like 7 editors ready to go.
yeah,
So there's more delegation, less stress on you. It's much better.
that'll be a huge help. And
Yeah.
I've never really like I've never collaborated with people on edits before.
Mhm.
So that'll be a learning curve, but a much needed learning curve, because once I graduate here, and if I'm editing projects for like bigger companies or like traditional films, like obviously there's not gonna be one editor. There's gonna be like multiple editors. So there might be a lead editor, but there's gonna be a lot of people organizing files, like setting up timelines, like sorting through footage, that kind of thing. So it's gonna be a really good learning process to work with other people and to try and, one, delegate tasks, but two, try and like allow everybody's voices to be heard within the edit.
For sure. And I think just even from a leadership standpoint, like the fact that now you have this group that you can work with. I mean, not only are you going to be teaching them stuff, but I think you figuring out who's good at what within that editing realm is going to be so crucial and so important. And I think for you, you might even learn from them too, because, now bringing in guys like Ryan Seckler, like he's going to be awesome. Like I'm so excited to have him on board as well. And like,
Yeah.
we have some guys through Instagram that have reached out to us. In the chat, I know I saw, who was it that texted today? They're like, I'm not going to be there Sunday, but I'll be there in the future.
Carl.
Oh, so yeah,
Summerville.
Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of talent coming on board here.
Yeah, it'll be really
it's gonna
cool.
fun.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Ryan Seckler. Like I know he's really good at like 3D animation stuff and like all that VFX kind of work.
Right.
Which hopefully I can learn some stuff from him, because he does some stuff that like blows my mind, like through Blender and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's gonna be other like editors who are really good at like at cutting for dialogue and that kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully we can all kind of combine our talents and create something pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I know we will for a fact. This is, I mean, your fifth and final film with the Badger Film Group. It's bittersweet, but I think this project is like the perfect one to end on.
Totally.
An hour and a half feature film. Really, it's about the college experience, So
Yeah.
especially for you, I know that story resonates for a lot of people, but specifically you and I, we came up with this idea at Raising Cane's.
Yep.
We literally,
Yeah.
it's so funny. We were at the end of Watch Out, in that production, and we got dinner one night, and we were like, yo, what's in the future? What are we doing next? And we just started talking, and then we made a Google Doc of what the idea was, and then 4 months later.
Yeah, so I remember it really well. I remember we were walking out of college library because like we were finishing up Watch Out, which is a film that we did last semester. We were walking out of this library, like we're in college library right now,
Yeah.
and we were kind of. I remember telling you, I was like, dude, we gotta do something like really cool next semester, and you were like, yeah, I want to make like a theater film or like some kind of like musical, like with like a big theater production. I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, and in my head, like what I had wanted to do, I expressed this to Jared too, was I wanted to do something along the lines of like identity crisis, like kind of like a nice college kid comes into college and ends up getting corrupted by like bad people, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I think we combined those two ideas like pretty well, and I think we came up with a really good script.
Yeah.
This has like been by far the most I've ever done in like pre-production.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really a pre-production guy. Like just life in general, I'm not a planner. I just like to show up and like do things.
Yeah.
But working with Ben Klein it's been really good, and it's gonna end up being super beneficial because he's a super detail-oriented guy, like a perfectionist. I'm not. I'm like the opposite of that. So like every single detail about the script and about like character development and
Even the title.
even the title, yeah. Even the title has been like
everything has been
super
perfect.
like thought about, like detail oriented, and we definitely haven't like brushed over anything. So going into this film or going into the production phase, like we should be well prepared based off everything that we did in pre-production.
Yeah, no, it's cool to see this because like over time with each project we learn a little bit more, and when we bring new people on, you know, they bring their own talents and, you know, certain habits they've learned, or you know, they just bring new skill sets to the table. And I think with Ben, I think it's cool because he's so meticulous. It's every little detail has to be perfect. We call him Bickley Ben. He made up this word bickle. I don't even think it's a word, right? Like, and I think he really means bicker, but he put an L on it. I don't know. Or it's any little thought, it just gets hammered to a T until we find the core root of what it is to express it in the best way. And so I think it's cool having that because on a production like Watch Out, we didn't even have a shot list. We just did it.
Yeah.
I think it's unheard of to make a feature film with no shot list.
Well, to be perfectly honest, like when we showed up to a lot of the scenes, I had no idea what the scene was going to be of.
Right.
I just showed up and I was like, hopefully the actors know the script and I'll just film their faces.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much like what it was.
That's so insane.
But yeah, this will be a much more like detail oriented.
For sure.
And it's been great collaborating with him because I know he knows film much more than I do. He watches movies much more than I do. Fun fact, I guess, like the reason I don't really or haven't dove into the traditional filmmaking space until last year when I met when I met Jared is that I watch on average probably like 2 to 3 movies a year.
Right.
I'm just not a Netflix guy, not like a HBO guy. I don't watch any of that. I just watch YouTube.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know a ton about like actor development, like that kind of thing. And just talking with Ben for the past couple of months, I've learned a lot through him.
Yeah, a ton. Well, I think also too, I mean, this definitely like you've definitely brought in your own inspirations as well. I know Social Network is something that we've gone back to constantly, and
Totally.
The Joker and different movies, you know, Superbad, Shithouse, like a bunch of movies that we have, Better Call Saul TV show. So I think what's cool about this project specifically is we've been getting a lot of inspiration from successful things of the past.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Social Network is my second favorite movie, behind 1917.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love The Social Network, and I think a lot of this screenplay and a lot of this film will be inspired by The Social Network.
Yeah.
Less kind of like entrepreneurial and more like creative, like theater kind of endeavor.
True. I mean, some would argue that hints of Sing the movie can be found in this.
I haven't seen that one, but maybe, yeah.
Great animated movie.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
But I think this movie it's a drama, but it crosses all genres really. So I think that's what makes a movie dynamic is when you can't necessarily pinpoint the exact genre. You're like it's this, it's that, it's this. It's just a whole range of things.
Totally.
So that's why I really like what we're about to do.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for it. It should be really good.
Yeah. But what about I guess going forward? I mean, this project, you know, in a month from today, it'll pretty much be wrapped, which is nuts. And, you know, we'll be premiering it at Memorial Union. What a way to cap off the year in front of everybody in those colorful chairs, a sunset projector. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, what's after that, though? What's next for you? I mean, I don't know if you got it figured out. And I know it's a bold question. It's a big question. But in an ideal world or with what you're up to, what do you think would be your next move post-graduation?
Yeah, well, I like to try and keep it like one day at a time.
Yeah.
That's like a simple way of saying I have absolutely zero clue.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to do something videography related. I'm a personal finance student here. So like pretty much everybody in my classes, they want to go into like wealth management or getting their CFP, certified financial planning certification. But I don't really want to pursue that because I love videography and filmmaking so much. So I'm still trying to kind of like figure it out. I love YouTube. So in an ideal world, I would love to do something in the YouTube space. Hopefully my own channel. I have my own channel, but it's not quite profitable enough right now to like make that my full-time thing. So I've worked with a lot of other YouTubers in the past, and that's always good, but it's freelance work in that like it's not super consistent. A lot of times you get underpaid. So it's rewarding to do that. Like you learn a lot, but it's also like kind of tough to make that your full-time thing. I don't know. Ideally, I want to move to a space where there are a lot of like other creators, like either like New York City or LA. I think would be really cool. Both really expensive, so that's also a little bit of a drawback. But this summer, I'll be going back to the Washington D.C. area, Fairfax, Virginia, and I'll figure it out there pretty much. I applied to a job with Mr. Beast, where I've been going through a couple of like the different application rounds for that. as a video editor for his Reacts channel, Mr. Beast Reacts. So if I got that job, like I would definitely take that. That would be like pretty awesome because that's like kind of like the epitome of video editing in the social media realm. There's not really any position higher than that. But yeah, I mean, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly sure what I'll be doing like 3 months from now. What I try and keep in my head though is just continue to get better and better and better at video editing, and I know opportunities will arise as long as I'm continually getting better at filmmaking and video editing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's cool about what you're doing too is like you're doing so much, and it's what you're doing. It's so versatile, like the span of what you're doing, and it's like you're making it to the point where it's undeniable that you are the person to hire or to have a part of your projects when it comes to video editing or content creation, because with everything you do, I mean, you're adding to your portfolio, but you love it. And so because of that, I mean, that's just making you just a stronger candidate. And, you know, that's making you're going to be one of the best to ever do it.
I appreciate it. I mean,
I truly believe it.
It's a very high appraisal that hopefully I can live up to one day.
True.
But
it's true.
Yeah, I agree that I'm just like laser focused on getting better and better at video editing. I'm not super concerned about like the I guess where I'm going to be in 3 months, because I know the better I get at video editing, the better I get at filmmaking, like the more opportunities will arise. And that's literally just what I'm laser focused on right now.
Yeah. And it's like, you love it. That's bottom line. It's
absolutely. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. And, you know, from one filmmaker to the other, I think we know it's an obsession. It's something that it doesn't stop. There's no off switch. It's who we are. It's what we do. I'm
super fortunate that I do have something like that, because I know most people, a lot of people have somewhat of a struggle trying to find their passion kind of, or like a hobby that they really enjoy. But I'm super grateful that like filmmaking kind of sparked an interest in me like senior year of high school. And since then it's just been like 110 miles an hour in that direction. Yeah. And I'm super grateful that I have something like that, because I know not everybody can find that like passion or craft, and that's totally fine too. But yeah, like I said, I'm very grateful that I have found filmmaking. Yeah,
it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I think it just comes down to trying new things and just being open to like going with the flow, because when you come into college, I know, you know, especially freshmen, it's like it's so overwhelming. You got like clubs and new friends, and like you're trying to figure out even just restaurants to eat at, like the dining hall, like who you're going with. It's like so overwhelming. You're just trying to find like where you fit in, and you know it can be tough. But you know, with persistence and making sure that you're keeping your best interest in mind, and you know, showing kindness and love, I think things work out, and clearly they have for us. I think for people watching this too, I mean, if you're watching this, then clearly you're probably after something pretty special as well. So
yeah, all the audience out there, they're after something.
You're after something cool. We believe in you too. You know, the whole point of Future Check, you know, we want you to check in on the future content creators and artists of the next generation.
It's good. I got a question for you. What's your goal with the Future Check podcast?
My goal? Well, I want people to see like the future of what. Okay, so like for instance, for this conversation, I want people to look back later down the line and be like, dang, like from this moment, like they had the vision. And so when you're, you know, looking back, you're like, yeah, like trust me, I believed in myself. Like I want people to know from the start, like this is who I am. And then later you'll come back and you'll be like, that little kid in me, like that my past self. Yeah, like he knew what he was talking about.
Totally. I love watching interviews of like, I guess like famous entrepreneurs or big celebrities from like 20 years back before they were famous. Yeah. One of my favorite things, you guys should try this, is like look up a 2004 interview from like Mark Zuckerberg, where he like first talks about his idea for the Facebook, not just Facebook. And like it's super interesting to see like what his vision was for Facebook back in 2004 versus where it's at in 2023. The same thing with like, I love YouTube. So like going back to like YouTubers, like first videos, like what were they doing well back then that ended up transforming them to like where they are today. Right. I do love watching like super old content from those kind of people to like see how they've evolved over the years.
It's so cool. It's like, 'cause you're planting the seed now and it's like later, it's just, this is inspiring for people even past our time, you know, 'cause for people who are like, oh, I want to become this. It's like, well, you know, Blake Schweitzer was thinking like that, so I need to try and do, you know, try to like replicate, not necessarily do the same thing, but I guess replicate that energy of just doing your best to be your best and constantly committing to what you love.
Totally. Yeah, there's not one path to success, but I think if, I don't know, like again, like I'm just a student here at UW Madison, so I'm
Right.
not like some famous.
Yeah,
or, like,
no.
I can't say I'm like a super successful person yet, but
Not yet.
I do think like just focusing on what you're good at and going 120 miles an hour in that direction is like gonna be beneficial for anybody.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, people, you got to consider burnout and all that, but I think that just comes with taking care of your body, taking care of your mental health and that sort of
Balance.
stuff. But, you know, balance
Yeah.
as much as you can. But obviously, you know, if you have a passion and you have a vision, it's time to execute, because all it is talk if you're never going to walk.
Totally, yeah, yeah. You gotta put your words into action.
You got it. You got to.
As cliche as it sounds.
No, it's the truth though, and
Yeah.
that's why with this podcast too, I want people to come on who I know are gonna make an impact, and I know, you know, who are part of Badger Film Group, who are that next level of determined people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the culture we create here in Madison, and you know, eventually that'll span out, and we'll create like this crazy, awesome culture of dreamers who can really execute.
Totally, yeah. That'd be really cool to if that
That's-
podcast
this is
inspired
it.
other students.
Hey, yeah, episode 2, you know, we got you. I mean, we had Ben, and the future. It's just gonna be fun, and also just to check in with, you know, like I said, Badger Film Group in general, because how it started from the ground with 5 people, 5-6 people, and now it's like we got like 40 some people in our group me now.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That
Yeah.
happened in a year.
yeah, yeah. There's been a lot of people coming through.
Yeah.
And wanting to see what the Badger Film Group is all about.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's fun. You know, we just keep creating, having fun, and just working hard. That's what it's about, and putting Madison on the map in a good light. So that's all I got. I mean, do you have anything you'd like to add, Blake?
No, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, appreciate
Hopefully, like Jared was saying, like 20 years from now, I can look back at this and I'm like, oh yeah, that kid was onto something. Like he had the right vision. I don't know, but thank you for having me on. I'm
Yeah, of
excited for
course.
this film, and yeah, stay tuned for this theater film called
Yeah,
Wasted. Hopefully, it
Wasted.
comes out like early May is what my prediction is.
Early May.
Yeah,
We're gonna do our best, but you know,
yeah,
making our dreams materialize, and you guys will get to watch it right in front of your eyes.
totally. Cool.
Yeah,
Well, thanks
so-
for having me, Jared.
Schweitzer, yep, you the man. All right, see you guys.
Bye.
We out.